What's up and what's going on, guys? Geeks on the phone. Today I'm going to be doing my top 5 Spider-Man bosses, and that's just going to be for Spider-Man PS4, Peter Parker's, and Spider-Man Miles Morales. I would do the other Spider-Man games, but I haven't exactly played them. Yes, I may have watched a playthrough of them, but because I haven't really actually played it myself, I don't think it should be fair if I do a top 5 on that. Maybe when I've actually played The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the other ones, then I think I'll be able to do the top 5 for them. But yeah, coming in at number 5, Vulture. Not only is Vulture in the first game, he technically is in Miles Morales too, because when you have finished all the spider training simulations, you get a special challenge to be able to fight 2 of him with funny dialogue to go with it. And when I mean like funny dialogue as well, I mean you technically have Peter talking as if he is Vulture, if that makes sense, if I remember correctly. So it kind of makes that that fight really kind of comical, if you will, because obviously Peter is a funny guy himself, but he talks as if he's Vulture. So like, for example, when you're fighting 2 of them, he's just like, oh, they're talking about, oh, Vulture number 1, Vulture number 2. Do you know what I mean? Because there's 2 of them. I just find it kind of funny, but technically it isn't really a boss fight in Miles Morales, but he was in Peter's game, so that's why I included it. But I really did like the Vulture boss fight in Peter's version of the Spider-Man game, though. Anyway, but I think Vulture is obviously one of those characters that he's, I guess in a way he's a predator, because obviously he's a bird, and Spider-Man Peter, he's a spider. Same with Miles. So obviously it's kind of, I love the villain side of it. Them two back and forth kind of thing with the, you know what I mean. Anyway, coming at number 4, Scorpion. There's a portion of the game in Peter's game where Scorpion poisons you, and it kind of makes this arena which you're fighting in a poison of fog. So like, when you go outside and when it's like really cold outside and there's like a massive like fog, imagine that, but the whole arena is like that but poison. Like it's like a green, like greeny brown misty like poison fog with like, and the thing you're standing on is like broken pavement with like broken buildings around. So I feel like it's really cool, but even though Scorpion can be a little bit annoying with him moving a lot, his fight makes for an interesting fight, which I think is decent. um Scorpion is one of those villains that he's obviously, a lot of these maybe like, I think at least 2 of them on this list is, a part of the Sinister Six. Well, 3 technically, but yeah. Number 3, Taskmaster. In Peter's game, if you complete all of Taskmaster's challenges, you get to fight the man himself, and when you do, you may have a challenge if you ain't got them perfect dodges down. But he is a character that is supposed to predict your moves, but before you even do it. And the game managed to do the Taskmaster boss fight was amazing. The way they did it, I mean, was amazing to me. Just because, obviously, I didn't know when playing the game that you was going to end up fighting Taskmaster, because when going for the last challenge, he kind of just comes at you as like a secret thing, which is why I liked it. But I was more surprised on how they actually did the Taskmaster fight, which is why it's on free. And honestly, I don't know how you can struggle with the fight, just because the perfect dodge is relatively easy to do. You just need, because the game like indicates when you should do it is pretty good, because the Spidey sense, I believe, goes blue when you're supposed to do a perfect dodge. And when you do the perfect dodge, it's you fire a web at them which stuns them, which is really cool. It should be the Taskmaster we got on Black Widow, but we don't talk about that. Anyway, coming in at number 2, the Tinkerer. The only bad thing I can really say about this boss is that it was so predictable that Finn would turn out to be the villain. Because if you know the story, then most of the time when a new character gets introduced, they end up being like a bad person, like a villainous person. I mean, technically, really, 2 characters got introduced. I've forgotten the guy's name. The head of Roxxon, and obviously Finn turned out to be the Tinkerer. And before even Miles Morales got put out, they even said that the Tinkerer would have a gender change, because obviously in the comics the Tinkerer is actually a man, not a woman. Not that's a bad thing, but you know what I mean. The story against Roxxon with her trying to avenge her brother was really heartfelt because of how close Miles was with Finn. Like, just imagine your best friend being your first real villain when you are on your own for the first time. Like, that would, fuck me over personally. So I don't know how Miles did it, but it kind of created that good, like, villain dynamic and just the way Finn switched at the end. But yeah, number 1, Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative is a really interesting story, and I think was one of the most unique boss fights for a Spider-Man boss besides Scorpion, in terms of the fact that the arena you are fighting him as a second to last boss is all negative. And I say second to last boss just because obviously you fight Doc Ock after that, don't you? I believe. And when you're in that arena with Mr. Negative, he sends like negative enemies, so to speak, in the arena too. And I think it was really cool how they designed his fight and gave him a story for him being close to Peter's aunt. But yeah, and it kind of made the ending for the first game really more hitting you, because obviously you beat Mr. Negative, then you beat Doc Ock, and obviously Peter's aunt passes away and finds out about Spider-Man. I think it was really cool. So on that note, the obviously honourable mention would be Doc Ock, just for that reason, just because obviously Doc Ock was as close to Peter as Mr. Negative was, to be honest with you, and I feel like it was really cool, and I think people expected it for him to be the final boss fight anyway, because I think the game even told you as well. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, smash like, subscribe, turn post notifications on for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.